Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Embrace the Journey with Sharon. And today's show is about one of the most precious gifts that we have in the world, and that is our children. And my guest today is Heather Hackett, and she has written a really, in my opinion, a book that will be used to inspire and empower our children to recognize that their beauty starts from within, and not just the word beauty in the sense of the physical appearance, but who they truly are is starts on the inside and works its way out, so to speak. And we're also going to talk to Heather about her journey to get to publish this book, because that in itself is a pretty amazing story of her following her own dream. And I hope that will inspire some of you that have a passion or a dream of your own and maybe find yourself coming up against an obstacle. And she might give you a little input on how you can get past those obstacles. So thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what really has attracted you to children and empowering them, because people talk about it all the time, but not everybody does something about it.
Yeah, that's true. No, with me it started when I was a kid. You know, it was very much, I was the shy kid. I was overweight. I was not unhappy to the point where, like, my parents didn't realize I was unhappy or, anything like that, but unhappy to the point where, I was always self-conscious. I was always nervous. I was always thinking I was different than everyone else and felt that I didn't look right in clothes and felt like I was not attractive or not like the other kids.
Did you find yourself compensating in some way? Were you like an A student or...
Nope.
No?
No, I wasn't an A student. It was more along the lines of my mom's sister were small. They could eat what they wanted and metabolism was good to them, and it kind of punched me a little bit. So I ate the same thing, but, I carried it a different way, so it was always me being the different one. I was kind of the odd one out. So, I don't think it was anything as far as, me trying to be almost better in something else, but it was trying a bunch of maybe little different avenues, maybe, I tried better at art because I knew I wasn't good at sports, or, I was always painting and doing stuff like that. But as far as, being active, I'd come home and eat grilled cheese sandwiches and watch I Love Lucy and Dukes of Hazzard and all that stuff. so that
I
was
love
it.
those shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you grew up with what type of feeling? You were different, and how long, was this for many years, or where was there a transition for you? Because most of us will have a point in time where something happens where we say, we almost kind of put it out there that I don't want this anymore, and it kind of hopefully leads us down a different path, and it sounds like that might be something that may have happened.
Yeah, I was from, baby pictures, I was bigger. That was just me. And, I wasn't severely obese, but I was just always bigger. I got to the point, my so-called breaking point, I was 19, and I was about 190 pounds. And I went to a dressing room, and I tried to fit on a pair of clothes, and the 14s were too small. And I knew I would have had to go into a plus store. And that was kind of my breaking point. I sat down in the fitting room and cried, and I'm like, okay, something has to change, and that was it. And I tried every diet. I did yo-yo dieting and all that other stuff, and but that was my absolute breaking point right there. So.
And so where did that lead you? Where did you end up? What direction did you take? What steps did you take for yourself?
Well, at first I tried everything. Like any 19-year-old, you go to fad diets, you go to magazines, and you're like, okay, what's new? Oh, okay, this pill. Okay, cool. Okay, low carb, no carb, sugar-free, fat-free, Weight Watchers, South Beach, whatever diet you can find. And you go, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to try.
The quick fix.
Exactly.
And because that's what we see, you see the billboards and you read the ads.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
No, that's exactly it. And you don't know.
Yeah.
At first you don't know. And it's really, you grasp to society, unfortunately, to say, hey, what should I do?
And still no exercise? at that point?
Then it's, well, I had to start with exercise in my house
Mm-hmm.
before I could feel comfortable enough to go to a fitness center.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think a lot of people do that and have that feeling. It's almost like, well, let me exercise and get into it, and then I'll feel almost good enough, or like I'll be able to go into the gym and maybe somebody won't notice me when I show up here.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
The gym is very, very intimidating, especially when you're not 100% sure, one, what you're doing, and also when you have that weight problem, you feel like, you know what, everyone's looking at me. Everybody is looking at me. When I go to the fitness center, nobody's looking at you, but you think everybody is looking at me because you feel that out of place. And so it's very much, you get to the point where you're almost comfortable enough to maybe I'll blend in. You just want to blend at that point. You don't want to stick out. You're obviously not going to be the most fit person there, but you never want to be the biggest person there. So you try to get to the point where you think, okay, I can kind of camo my way in there and blend in with everyone else, and that's all you want to do. So when you get to that point where you feel like I can blend, then you can go.
Yeah, because you pointed out at the beginning, I always felt different. So here you are feeling that difference for many years, because you said you felt that way when you were young, so now you're talking 19 or 19-ish, and you're walking almost into that world that you felt different from all this time. Like you're finding the courage to go into it.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Oh, it is. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's very, very different, especially, in college. The girls are small, they're little, they're petite, they're in shape, they're not older middle-aged women, they're in little shorts, and, they have their hair fixed and makeup on, and they leave because they get sweaty, and, it's very much, it's almost for show. So if you go there going, okay, I'm in sweats, I sweat, I look gross, you really...
Yeah,
you
but
really
I'm here
don't
for
blend.
the purpose of what a
Yeah.
gym is actually for.
Yeah.
To lose the weight. Now, did you find yourself, because one of the things that we speak about a lot on my show is that our thoughts create for us. So did you find that you changed your thought process about yourself, and did any of that come into play for you?
Yeah, but it's still a struggle. I still am not quite there yet. I still struggle with that. I still have battles. I still fight that every day.
Yeah.
You just baby step your way through it. There's days where you have good days where it's like, ooh, yay. At that point it was like, yay, my 14s are comfortable. Now, if I was in a 14, I wouldn't leave my house because it's oh my gosh, I was here, now I'm here, now I was there. You very much struggle with it, and there's days where you feel bigger than others, and you're like, I don't want to go anywhere, but you do. It's every day. It's a struggle every day.
Yeah, I think everything is a process. So you've come up with probably rituals, for lack of a better word, to help keep you on track. Now, in this transition for yourself, you were 19, and then did you become a teacher?
Yes.
Are you a coach? My understanding is that you coach children. So how did that all come into play and tie into, deciding to write the book?
My degree was business education. So I knew at that point, it's like, okay, I'm going to go into business or teaching. And I taught high school right out of college. And I love that age group. I really, really like that. I think that's the most, impacting, I don't know why, I just really, really like that niche. So I taught high school, and that was really when I was in fitness. I got into it, once you start and see results, then you're like, oh yeah, look at me go, and then you start to get, oh my gosh, much better. So so once you get into that, then fitness, because it's not a hobby, it's not something I have to do, it's who I am, it's my life. So I taught high school, and there was an idea there of, I loved, I probably wasn't the greatest teacher in the sense that I was more concerned with how the kids were as individuals. as opposed to curriculum. And they would get me off on tangents. All they had to do was say, "Oh, Miss Hackett, tell me what protein is." And I'd be like, "Oh, well, you know," and I'd start talking about protein and then look at them like, "Oh, you got me off track again."
Yeah.
You know, but it was very interesting to me to work with them on being healthy, on nutrition, on that type of thing. And you realize then, you know, I had a kid come up to me, I'll never forget it. They came up to me, they say, "Hey, oh, I did really good today, Miss Hackett. All I had was a piece of pizza and a Pop-Tart." And I'm like, "Oh, no." You know, they don't quite get it yet. They think quantity as opposed to quality.
Right.
You know, so it really kind of stemmed from there. And then I just really loved working with kids, you know, on their nutrition and teaching them just true. Like, what's real food, real nutrition? What's the truth? You know,
that's
as opposed to fad.
key.
And, you know, I didn't want them to do what I did.
Yeah.
You know, and go through all those pills and diets and whatever else, because at the end of the day, you go on a you go on a diet with the intent to get off of a diet. You know, so really
You're chasing one for the other. Yeah.
You're automatically setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, if you just eat healthy and exercise, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may fluctuate up and down a little bit, but as you know, overall in the big picture, you'll be okay.
Well, I think what I see in you, and I can even feel it in your energy, is the passion of educating people so that they know better, because you know that that's what brought you to feeling better.
Oh, absolutely. And it was then, you know, working with the high school kids that I realized that everything starts then. It starts younger. It starts when you're a kid, as opposed to you get to the point where you're, you know, 19 or you're in your 20s, your low self-esteem already set in, and then you want to change your ways. So that's why I like kids. That's why I like working with them.
And then you took this into a business for yourself.
Yeah, I did. I had a business called I Train Your Kids, and it was fitness, nutrition. It was very much a business to help kids really learn how to eat healthy foods and eat them anywhere. It wasn't, I never put a kid on a diet, ever. I would never write anything out, and it was very much, okay, if you're here, here's a healthier choice. If you're here, here's a healthier choice. You know, it was a realistic approach. You know, I would never tell them, my rule was, if you're going to eat a cookie, eat a cookie. Don't eat a dozen, don't eat one bigger than your head. You know, meaning quantity control, portion control, sizes, that type of thing.
And was this a younger set of children?
Majority of it was, yes. Yeah, it was mainly, I would say, like 8 to 12-year-old. You know, and every once in a while I get the 15, 16, but the majority was a little younger.
And I'm assuming that, you know, they came in with wanting to lose the weight, but really, like you said, the self-esteem and those feelings, I'm sure, did they share them with you? And
it was very different. It wasn't a few of the kids actually not sought it out, you know, but some didn't quite know why their parents called me, or some, you know, whatever the case was, but you could always tell that that self-confidence part was really low. And it was kind of walking on eggshells, you know, but anytime I would talk or walk with them, I'd take myself back, you know, to me, and it was just like two kids talking to each other, you know, so I saw them eye to eye.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see the parents eye to eye. I was more focused on the kid. I'm like, all right, me and you, we're going to get there, you know, and that was very much it.
And so sometimes they can't talk to their parents, but they can seek out somebody else.
I was a friend.
Yeah.
You know, and they knew that, and it was very much, they trusted me to the point where, you know, we would sit down and I could make conversation and say, you know, okay, I'm not really thrilled with these couches, because every time I sit in these couches, my stomach folds over and I always have to adjust my shirt, and they look at me like, yeah, it does. You know, like, oh my gosh, she gets it. You know, and it's like, oh yeah, how many times do you sit on a couch and, you know, and your stomach comes over, or, you know, whatever else. And then they'd kind of go, oh my gosh, she does know. You know, or I'd have the conversation with, you know, a girl that was very much, you know, working with me because her dad, you know, the dad wanted her to get in shape or whatever else. And I told her, I said, when you get mad at your dad, don't eat. Don't overeat to punish him, because you're only punishing yourself. And she kind of looked at me like, how did you know that? You know, it was just very, very different.
Yeah.
So once they see, oh my gosh, she really does know what it feels like, then that's it. floodgates open, and they tell me anything you can think of.
Yeah.
So.
And so when you decided to write the book, The Pretty in Me, did it come from your experiences that you had with the high school kids that you had in your class and the children that you were teaching in your business? Or did it actually come from a place deeper within you and you decided, I really need to get this out and share it on a bigger level?
It was just as I mentioned about getting onto their level to really kind of impact them. That's kind of the intent of this book. At first I was going to write a book for parents, and how to work with their kids and how to, approach their kids and that type of stuff. Yeah, because you just mentioned
a dad, and that's, I've heard that many a times, and, where a father will say something in a way that really does not empower a child or a young girl about her weight.
Yes.
So is that why you decided to write the book in the perspective of for a child versus for the adults?
Yeah, well, it first started with that idea, of going to the adults. And I was thinking, okay, what are the biggest questions that I'm asked from parents? And the first thing that came to mind was, the parent that always asks me, what do I do when someone called my kid fat? And at that point, I go, you know what? Forget it. I'm writing to the kid.
Yeah.
And it was just a twist of it, and I'm going, you know what? Basically like, forget the parent.
Yeah.
I want to send
that.
the message directly to that kid.
Yeah.
So for me, it was from the time I realized what I was going to do and that I was going to write to this kid to the time I started writing was maybe 2 minutes.
Wow.
And that 2 minutes was me standing up to going and sitting down at a computer. And it was just, whew. I mean, it literally just came, and within I had the idea at 4 o'clock, by 9:30 it was done.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just, don't answer the phone, I remember literally just turning it off and just thinking of like, what's the message, and what's this, and what's this, and what's this, and what's this. And it literally, as soon as it was finished, I'm going, oh wow, this is kind of cool. So it was just very, very overwhelming, very, very quick, to where it came out. And still, I have a tough time. Well, I don't think I have read it out loud. Because I know
you know what I mean? Was it that finally, you had heard that question so many times, and based on what you were sharing earlier about you and when you were younger, did you hear that when you were younger?
Oh, of course.
So you heard that, so this has maybe been kept inside of you all that time, and finally it was like a trigger, and it just came out on that level.
Absolutely.
So if you were going to say The Pretty in Me, the message, from the title, it's clear. But if you were going to say the one thing that you want a child or even a parent to get out of this, what would you say the most impactful thing is that you want them to get out of it?
The biggest thing for me is just to let a kid know, you know what? It's not you. It's usually when someone calls someone fat, it's just because they're mad, or they they want to be mean or want to be funny in front of their friends, or whatever the case is. But really, it's just to tell them, oh my gosh, it's not just me. There's someone else out there that gets it. There's someone else that can relate with me. I'm really, I'm not just the one person that they pick on.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's really just to take that pressure off of themselves for a little bit.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I think that, I read a little bit of the book, and I think that even kids that aren't on that end of it, the kids that aren't maybe the heavy one or the fat one, to share it with children so that they know how they make somebody else feel if they happen to be one of the ones saying that to somebody else. or the friends of somebody,
No,
to be able
absolutely.
to empower your friend and stand up with your friend.
Yeah, there's many different, basically this, I like to think, just kind of opens the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gets it going, whether it be teachers that want to discuss bullying
Mm-hmm.
or name calling, whether it wants to be parents. It could be the parents of the person that does the name calling, or the
Yeah.
parents of the kid that has been called names. It could be counselors. It could be whoever, you know, but it really is a tool to get the ball rolling, to get the conversation started of, okay, what do you think of this story? Talk to me about it. What do you think of, you know, the fact that, you know, of being called fat,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that term, you know, because it's what I wanted to call it. I didn't want to say, you know, someone called her chubby or something. No,
Yeah.
they called her fat.
Yeah.
You know, and
because that's
and
how
that's-
blunt the kids.
yeah.
That's how blunt our kids are now.
oh,
I
it's
mean,
amazing.
And to be honest with you, it does go back, but it just seems. It seems louder now. It seems like more kids are, you know, they just kind of say it. Now this is the beginning of a series for you.
Yes.
Is that correct? And
Yes.
is it your publishing company called Be Me or?
Yes, it's Be Me Books Incorporated.
Okay, and that itself was a cool journey of you following your
Yeah.
own dreams. So share that a little bit.
That's just cool. I mean,
it
I
is
don't
very-
even know how
it
to
is,
describe
lack
it.
of a better word.
It's
Yeah.
it's different. I mean, like this. It stemmed up and it was out there, and then I'm going, oh my gosh, I think I'm onto something here,
Mhm.
you know. And it was working with a guy that I actually used to work for. He's very much my, like, not coach, but you know, he's kind
A
of like my uncle.
mentor, yeah.
But yeah, as far as business stuff goes,
Mhm.
you know, and he's very real. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't anything. And that night, I sent him a message. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I think I got it."
Mhm.
And he you can never get a hold of him. He called me right back. He's like, "I just have to know, what the heck is it?" And I read him the story. He said, "Stellar." He said, "That is the best idea you have ever come up with." And I'm like, "Really?"
Now what do
You know,
I do?
Okay. So then I kept writing. I had, you know, different situations and scenarios, and I love the underdog.
Mhm.
I will always choose for the underdog. You know, whether it's watching Rudy, whether it's any of the things where you can have somebody that isn't number one, or that isn't, you know, wasn't born with a silver spoon, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And it really is going after that kid.
Mhm.
You know, that's the one that I can relate to.
Yeah.
I can't relate to the prom queen or anything like that, but I can relate to the girl that's making fun of cheerleaders sitting in the rafters by herself. I can
Yeah.
relate to her. You know, so it really kind of went from there, and I started thinking of underdog situations and that type of thing. And now Christopher Driggers, who is actually the illustrator, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, the pictures. Let me just hold this up just to bring through it a little bit. I mean, they are absolutely amazing. They speak to you even before we look
yeah.
at the words that Heather's put in the book. So yeah, the combination of the two of those, it reaches out and it grabs you.
Yeah.
It grabs you.
No, he's amazing, and he's already actually starting on the second one.
Yeah.
But he did it actually because he wanted to leave something to his daughter.
And so real quick, you raised the money how to publish this book? Because you have to have money to publish your book.
You need money for everything. Actually, there's a website out there called Kickstarter,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really for people like me. It's for people that have a passion, but don't necessarily have the funds. And it was, you know, we tried to raise the money for it, and it took everything we had. I mean, it took till literally the last day. I mean, it was like, you know, the Jerry Lewis telethon at my house.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the phone, and I'm sitting here, and I'm emailing people and typing people because, you know, basically we wanted to raise the money. And if you don't raise that amount, you get nothing.
Yeah.
It could be 1 penny short, and you won't get a dime. So you have to raise at least that. And we literally, I mean, you know, friends of mine were on Facebook. People that had donated were donating more. And, I mean, it was the most amazing thing in the world. I didn't think I had that much support. And we had, 140 people supported us.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
you put, your gift and the passion truly comes through you when you speak about it, about the children, about why you're writing the book. This would be a great present for anybody to have, and we've got Valentine's Day that's going to be coming up, and people never know what to get for Valentine's Day. I mean, that would be a great one. Birthdays. You heard Heather, she'd really like to get this into schools, into counselors. So if you're anybody that's watching this that is involved in it that way, it really is an amazing book. And you'll be able to go to Heather's website. It'll be down below here, and you can reach her that way. And you can also go into the show page, and there'll be a little bio and some contact information for her there. And I hope to have her back when she comes out with the next book and take this on, so we can educate people, because our children are our greatest asset. And so, each and every day, remember this. Send them out of the house, no matter where they're going, and embrace them with, they are amazing, they are beautiful, they are smart, they, are a gift in the world. Fill them up with the positive, because there's so much in this world that doesn't, and it's almost like a shield that they'll have around them, a love shield filled around them. So thank you for writing this book and caring enough about them to take the time and the passion that you show. It's very much appreciated.
I have no other choice.
Yeah, it's got to come out. It's got to come out. I totally get it. So thanks again for coming and visiting the show, and remember to embrace the journey, because when you do, it's amazing. Bye now. Thanks,
you.
Heather.
Thank you.
You're welcome.